Welcome back to Can I Beat Fire Emblem 3 Houses in the Wrong Way, where I try to beat the game by giving people classes that they should be terrible with. I generally like to cover 2 months at a time in these videos, but because not a lot happened during the past few months, I put 3 in the last video so I can really focus on all the crazy stuff that happened during this month. The month of the Wyvern Moon took me a while to get through because it's a total of 5 battles I did while also discovering more about the motives behind the members of the Black Eagles. We got a lot to cover, so let's get right into it. We are made aware that at the end of the month there will be a big battle called the Battle of the Eagle and Lion, where all 3 houses will have a skirmish in order to gauge how the students have progressed. While we are mismatched in classes, I know the AI won't do that, so we will need to make sure we are fully ready before heading into battle. So we start off with a session of lessons so that we can get everyone stronger, but mostly so that we can bring our newest team member Flame up to speed. We had no choice but to accept this character, so it doesn't break any prior rules that were made regarding recruitment. It was put to a vote, and Flame, who is supposed to be a dedicated healer, will instead become an assassin. If you would like to influence my challenges by being able to vote on decisions, then head over to my Patreon where you can get lots of benefits for helping me pursue my career. The link for the Patreon is in the description. Getting back to our eventful play session, we follow up our instruction period with another one of Hubert's extremely uncomfortable confrontations. We get a better idea as to why he is so aggressive, but the game is still trying to convince me that this dude literally stalking me is going to make me like him more.
The more I learn about you, the less I like. I had thought you might be of use to Lady Edelgard, but now I am beginning to think you may, through no fault of your own, present too great a risk. I hope you will prove me wrong, Professor. I would hate for this to come to bloodshed.
We are now also able to become involved in missions called paralogs, which are battles that follow a side story involving at least one of the characters in your house. This paralog involves Dorothea and the Blue Lions member Ingrid, as Ingrid is given a marriage proposal from someone that Dorothea is highly against. It is revealed that the man is trying to buy his way into getting access to the crest that Ingrid possesses. We agree to escort Ingrid on her way to meet the potential suitor. I can't honestly say I know what happens next because we cut from being in a monastery to what looks like the inside of a fucking volcano. Like, where the hell were we headed where we needed to go through a narrow slice of land surrounded by lava? To top it off, we get ambushed, so the effective goal for the mission is just to escape. The people attacking us are trying to kidnap Ingrid because I guess this was a better way than the attempted marriage. This whole mission is like the scene in Borat where he tries to marry Pamela Anderson. Anyways, we have to fight our way through everything, and we get introduced to poison weapons which, as you might suspect, deal extra damage over time if someone has been hit. Our newest team member, Flame, immediately proves difficult to use, and I honestly don't think she'll be able to last that long when she literally does 0 damage with a sword and then takes 18 damage from any attack. We use the terrain to our benefit as there are spots on the map that damage any unit who starts their turn on it. We also get several close calls with Linhardt almost dying twice and Hubert almost dying once. Eventually, I was forced to give up on trying to eliminate every unit, and I had to rush Ferdinand to the chest on the map to get a healing staff, which will be super useful later on, and then I got Ingrid to the exit as quick as possible to end the battle before losing anyone. To show her appreciation, Ingrid gives Dorothea a goddess ring, who then does, the normal thing people do when they get a gift, and immediately gives it to Byleth. Continuing the trend, I give it to Ferdinand. The ring heals the wearer every turn, so I figured giving him one and giving another one that's similar to Linhardt will make my front line less in danger of dying every combat. We follow up our adventures in Mount Wanahakalugi by taking on some bandits in an auxiliary battle. While we did technically battle them, I really wouldn't call it a fight as we absolutely destroyed them in 5 turns. And even though Linhardt won the MVP award, the real MVP on our team right now is Bernadetta. She just walked straight up to the enemy and even took on the enemy general, only taking a grand total of 8 damage the entire fight. This is why I wanted her to be an armor knight as quick as possible. Besides armor-piercing weapons and magic, armored and fortress knights really just take every shot like it's nothing and then dish out a massive blow. I spend the next weekend doing our usual routine in the monastery, but mostly focusing on getting Byleth's reason skill high so that she can learn more spells on the path to being a Grimoire. In hindsight, I realized it'd be much easier to make a student a Grimoire, as they will get automatic skill increases every week, whereas Byleth will have to get them very slowly because she only can get them from combat or from using an activity point when exploring the monastery. This means it'll take a much longer time, but since I said she'll become a Grimoire, I'll have to stick to it and continue to grind away. We get involved in another auxiliary battle, and once again the opponent was nowhere to be seen as we beat it in a record 4 turns, with more thanks to Bernadetta doing what she does best and claiming the MVP award. We follow that up with yet again another auxiliary battle, and the only reason why this battle was not over in 5 turns was due to it taking place in the desert. Desert terrain limits the movement of units, but one character that didn't seem to mind too much in this fight was Edelgard, as she took the MVP award after taking out 4 of the 10 enemies by herself. Now that we have reached the end of the month, it is time for our evaluations.
Forward, now!
For honor!
As this is a skirmish between the houses, we don't have to worry about losing anyone if they are defeated in this battle, and I've got to say I'm glad that that is the case because I really messed up on this fight. I underestimated several of the enemies and lost several fighters along the way. I initially thought I could split my forces and be able to pincer the enemy, and I am immediately humbled as Ingrid takes down Hubert in one attack and then follows that up and takes out Dorothea in one attack. I changed plans in order to reunite my forces again, and in the attempt I lose Flame, who is proving harder and harder to justify keeping in my team. I then lose Caspar before being able to finally regroup. Petra nails a timely critical hit so that I can now attack the remaining enemies from one direction while they're focused on each other. At this point there are 3 generic archers in Claude remaining for the Golden Deer side, so with a bigger force overall and Mercedes healing people from across the map, the blue lines become my priority. I lure Dimitri into combat, and I'm able to finish him off with Edelgard.
Tom!
I fear I cannot fight any longer. I'm sorry, everyone.
I unfortunately lose Bernadetta, but I make it up by taking out Claude and the remaining archers so that the Golden Deer are no longer in the fight. I turn my attention to the 4 remaining enemies and I immediately take out 2 of them. All that remains is Mercedes, who takes no damage from my magic attacks besides Luna, and Felix, who literally hasn't moved the entire time. I run out of Luna uses, and I decide to bait Felix into finally doing something by putting Edelgard into his range. I take down Felix, leaving only Mercedes, and after Ferdinand gets finished grabbing the item in the chest, he rejoins us in the fight and finally ends the battle.
That is the end of this year's Battle of the Eagle and Lion. And the winners are the Black Eagles.
Thank you for your hard work, everyone.
With that, we win the battle, Ferdinand gets the MVP award, and we get the bonus for defeating the most enemies, which is a Blessed Lance that will do extra damage to monsters and heal the user each turn. The time for celebration is cut short as we are made aware that a village known to Geralt and Byleth has had several instances of people going mad. While no one is for sure, there is one theory as to what is causing this to happen.
Is there no chance it's an infectious disease?
There are no absolutes in medicine, but the chances are extremely slim. Restless movements, fits of violence, becoming bedridden, or even impossible to wake. With symptoms that varied, there are only a few possibilities. It's either a mixture of poisons or magic, and dark magic at that.
And that is one more month in the books of this challenge. If you are enjoying the content, feel free to leave a like, subscribe, and head on over to my Patreon channel to help support me. Have a great rest of your day, and as always, be kind to one another.